Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today, I'm so excited to introduce you to Dr. Gail McLeod, also known as the communicator. Gail has an extraordinary gift. She builds bridges of communication between humans and extraterrestrials, translating not just words, but intentions, feelings, and missions. Her brand new book, How I Learned to Fly a Spaceship, takes us on a remarkable journey through her own ET experiences, rescue missions, time travel, encounters with mini grays, insectoids, and even the training to pilot a spacecraft. It's part memoir, part mission log, and glimpse into realities most of us only dream about. We'll be exploring her story and the wisdom she's gathered and what her experiences reveal about humanity's connections to our cosmic neighbors. And as those of us who already know you in our community affectionately as Dr. Gail, thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, what an impressive introduction.
Well, you are an impressive person.
Oh, thank you.
I just want to start off by, and thank you for being here, because I'm delighted I could have you on to talk about this. How I Learned to Fly a Spaceship is available now on Amazon.com. There's a link below in the description, a live link that will take you right to Amazon and the page that the book is on. And I have to say, it's delightful. It's charming, it's funny, it's interesting, and entertaining, and quite eye-opening, actually, to hear how you started this journey. And that's where I'm at. I still haven't finished it, but I'm delighted to be reading it. And one of the things in your book, you talk about alien food, bland diet, and food seems to show up. And what can you tell us about that ET nutrition and why it's significant? Why is it so different from human nutrition?
Well, it's not, you have to go by each species is different.
Yeah.
Some are like just plant-based, some do eat animals, so every species is different. But my first encounter with that was on the Astro Medical One, where I was presented with some food that, oh gosh, it was so nasty. And I had the hardest time hiding my face when I eat something nasty. But they handed me a bowl, and it was a celebration. It was a celebration for rescuing these people. Was the first time I had saved a family, had gotten them out of their spaceship off the planet they were on and back to their the Astro Medical One. And so they were celebrating me by serving me this dish, and it was in a white bowl, white spoon, and it was white mush. And if you're from the South, you know what watery grits look like and taste like, and they don't have any flavor to it. And it was almost like a combination between grits and potatoes with no flavoring. And so it was just nasty. And I just can't hide my respect.
You didn't want to spit it out, though, during their celebration.
I wanted to spit it out. It was so bad. And I have the whole time I've been exposed to that several times. Even my second book that I'm talking about, where I'm an interplanetary liaison, that is one of my weaknesses, because whenever you're going to meet a new species, they want to serve you some kind of food.
Oh, interesting.
And I have not yet accomplished hiding what I think about it.
Your expressive face shows it all.
Yes, well, I wanted to puke it up.
So, Gail, for those meeting you for the first time, how would you describe your work as the communicator between humans and extraterrestrials?
Well, it's actually communications between the seen and unseen, because I'm the medium.
Yeah.
I'm a psychic medium that I'm specializing in the extraterrestrials or the aliens. So I have a lot of different gifts that I have as a channeler, medical intuitive, all these different things I can do. But that is my main focus, is like communication between the two worlds. And as I said, the unseen and seen, because I also deal with elementals and earthbound beings. So that encompasses a lot of things, a lot of different entities.
Right, it does. Thank you. And what inspired you to finally write How I Learned to Fly a Spaceship?
Well, nothing inspired me. When the extraterrestrials for me to do something, they start off with a suggestion. It's almost like somebody keeps poking at me, like poke. All right, a few days later, let's poke again, because I'm first saying, "Are you crazy?" No, and then eventually I'm like, "Okay, why not?" But they first started off wanting to say, "I want you to write a blog." So I did a blog, and I was terrible at it. I was so bad at it. So I decided, compromised, and said I'll do a YouTube channel, and I could talk about the stories much easier than I could write it. But they kept saying, "Write a book, write a book, write a book." And so it's been years in the making, because I kept saying, "I'm not a writer." All the time I kept saying, "I'm not a writer, I'm not a writer, I'm not a writer. Pick somebody else. I'm not a writer. Pick somebody else." And
And I have to say, they were right, because this is it's fun, it's funny, it's adventurous. It is, you really get to go on this journey along with you as you are telling it. And I think it's just, there are places where I just laughed out loud. So it's a really fun read, everyone. So
well, it's being human in a alien world, and how awkward we are in their world. I mean, it's just very awkward. But even, before I went on the first spaceship, they had asked me to go on a bland diet. And that was for 5 days. I had no idea. And that was, again, another poke, was going a bland diet, going a bland diet, going. Finally, they break me down and going, "Why not go on a bland diet?" Yes. So that's how it usually happens for me, is they just keep
They keep after you till it gets done, no matter, even if it takes 3 years or 2 years.
Even when I was moving to Mount Shasta, it was the same thing. The first thing I said, "Will you move to California?" And I'm going, "No." And then a few weeks later, "Will you move to California?" "No." And then finally, they keep poking at me, and they showed me Mount Shasta, and I'm going, "Huh." So I started thinking about it again, and finally they broke me down and go, "Okay, I'm going." So
Wow. I mean, because that was a big move for you.
big move, because I got rid of everything I had and moved out there with me and my dog and my cat all across the U.S.
Because let's just say you were in the South, and
Yes.
you had to go all the way north or west, northwest.
I went to the northwest from the southeast.
Yes, there you go. And that is a big journey. So, I mean, that you did that was quite a commitment.
Yeah.
And you did that for 2 years, right? So
I did.
So that was amazing.
And I'm back in the southeast, hoping to never see a snow shovel again.
Wow. I mean, I have to say, not having to shovel snow, yeah, that's a good thing. So your book is kind of part memoir, part mission log. But when did you realize your experiences weren't just dreams or imagination, but actually ET encounters? I mean, how did that all flow together in your mind?
That's a lot in my second book. A lot of that goes on.
So we'll be waiting for that one. We don't want to
I have shared it that, because a lot of people ask me, how do you get in contact, or how you feel safe? Because
a
lot of people who are wanting to have contact with them or the extraterrestrials is fear. Whenever you meet them, there's fear. So you shut it down, shut them down. I'm scared of that. What was that? And for me, because I'm a medium, I already had connected with my dad, who started introducing me to ETs. And so that made it comfortable, made it safe for me. And then I had a friend who we had been friends for over 15 years. That was the only metaphysical friend I knew at the time that helped me with all my journeys going through it, telling me I was okay. Because I kept going, "I have a brain tumor. I know I have a brain tumor. I need an MRI. The nurse part of me is coming out. I've got, I'm hallucinating. I never thought I was crazy, but I did think I was hallucinating.
Well, yeah. I mean, you want to check those things out first before you start, especially with your medical background. You're going to be cautious like that. But, it is something that for you, it came on, this whole journey started only a few years ago, right?
5 years.
Far as, 5 years ago. So
When
you weren't indoctrinated into the metaphysical world. You didn't have any way to look at this. You had no framework for it. So you were just diving in cold turkey. Well, you weren't diving in. They were sort of making you dive in.
They were making me dive in. But and that's just when the memories came flooding in, because I'm allowed to remember all these things where a lot of us are doing all these things and we just don't remember. And again, a lot of it's fear of it. But it was the first time in life when we went in with COVID in 2020 that I wasn't taking care of anybody. I was not doing nursing. I had retired from chiropractic, closed my office to take care of my dad with dementia. And he had passed away a few months before we went in with COVID. And then I was like, I'm alone. For someone, just had my pets and me, and I didn't have anybody to take care of. So my first thing was, let me try this meditation stuff. And then that opened my world. Yeah, that's what opened my world up, was the meditation. Now, I have always been a medium, just didn't know I was a medium, because I always knew there's somebody in the room. I knew when there's a ghost. I knew when somebody had passed, I could smell them around.
You just didn't call yourself a medium. You probably didn't even realize what that was.
No, I just thought that was normal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I said anything about it, people would go, oh, you're crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's what I see, is there's so many people walking around. They've got all these tools in their belt. They use them all the time, but they don't know, they don't call it something.
Right.
So they think they don't have those gifts and abilities because they don't really realize it till somebody puts a name on it and shows them, oh, you're already doing this. You've been doing it from day one. And, you have, because you've seen things from the time you were a small child.
Well, yeah. Well, also, I was regressed back at one time, and I've been going up to a spaceship since I was an infant. And so I know the room and everything that I was being put in was, it was a Palladian woman that was holding a boy and a girl. And of course I was the girl, and putting us in incubators and hooking us up. And I don't even know if I was months old, but she would lay me down and hook me up and then pull me out and then lay the boy down. And so in this room had at least 10 incubators and 10 extraterrestrials holding these babies. And then after they finished with us, they shoved them like a pizza into this room that was like a bouncy house. And I think that was like the recovery room before we went home. So I have been going up.
Is that how you found out you were a hybrid? Was it through that process, or?
Well, that's in the book.
I mean, don't they? Oh, that's in the book, folks. You got it. Gotta get the. We don't want to give anything away, but you know what? That'll be an interesting story. And I know there's a lot of hybrids on the planet right now, especially because we really need the higher vibration.
Right.
So, how did your family or close friends react as you began sharing these stories?
Well, I only had one friend, a physical friend. And so I kept going to her because she accepted and did not judge me and would tell me I was okay. My family, well, they had always been telling me all my life that I wasn't seeing, smelling, or whatever, And my sister, who shared a room with me when we were growing up, she doesn't recall anything I said. She doesn't recall me saying we have a wolf living under the bed. She doesn't recall me saying there's a ghost in here, or she doesn't recall any of that.
She blocked it out. Yeah.
Even as an adult, when it first started, there was a house that was built in the 1920s that we were in, and I'm going, be careful with the dining room because there's a ghost in there. And she's not real happy.
Matter of fact.
Yeah, and she's not real happy with us being here. She's finally accepted me because I come in and clean her house up, but be careful because I don't know what she might do to you. Don't walk up the stairs alone. And so, that's matter of fact. And
She's like,
no, she doesn't remember any of it.
oh, she doesn't remember it because she blocked it out. It was too much for her, and her mind just took it away. Yeah, that's understandable. There are things that our mind protects us from, even though as a child, these things really happen. But
I gave her my book. Now, when I wrote the book originally, I gave it to her so she could critique it, because she's very much of a perfectionist, and I knew she would love the opportunity
to nitpick.
Yes, I knew she was gonna love that opportunity to nitpick and tell me everything I'd done wrong, but she wouldn't take it on. She
wouldn't.
No.
Because there's some, I know for a lot of people, there's some level of fear of the unknown. It doesn't matter if it's ghosts or ETs or what, the things that we don't know. And so the fear level,
you can't control.
Yes, anything you can't control. So the fear level would, might be exponential for her to have to get over. So
she's gotten my finished product, and I haven't heard anything about it. So I don't know if she ever read it or not. She might have made it through the
first chapter. Charming. I mean, this book is so charming and so fun to read, and also informative, of course. But it's just such a great journey. And so, what do you hope readers will gain from reading this book? Healing, understanding, or validation of their own experiences?
A lot of it, the whole purpose of everything I've been doing is to help the people validate their own experiences, because back in the 40s, 50s, everybody was called crazy if you said I was abducted by aliens. Their whole life changed, and so there's that fear now. And if we come in as a group, as a community, understanding each other and validating your experiences, then that we become stronger, and you're able to talk about it and start remembering a lot more. So that's part of it. And also to be the communicator between them and humans, because we have so much negative information that seems to be at the forefront. So I'll bring in the positive, the good things.
I love that. That's beautiful. And another question about telepathy. In the beginning chapters of your book, you talk about some ability to have that telepathic communication. That's what you were using. Did you have any idea you had that ability prior to your going on the spaceship and going on missions?
No. And in fact, I think I mentioned that in the book the first time I realized, now I understand why they were asking me to be the communicator. Because I kept saying, I can't even learn Spanish. I've been trying to learn Spanish for 6 months. I can't even learn Spanish. Why are you expecting me to learn these languages? That's how I was reacting.
Because when you get somebody's thought, it's already in the language, you would understand it. Yeah.
Right. So it just seemed odd for me that would be chosen as a communicator when I couldn't even learn Spanish. So
that's pretty interesting. And I love that. I love that story about all of that. And I think that's kind of where we're headed as a species, even humanity, going more toward telepathic communication ourselves. Because my husband and I do that. We do it all the time. So, but for us, it's not like I hear his voice. I just get the impression of what it is. And then it always ends up being true. He wanted a Hershey candy bar from the store. So I got him one. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. But see, whenever my father passed and I started connecting with him and could see him. And so I could finally see him. So we created a bench where we would sit down beside a stream, and it's like a little waterfall, where we would sit down and talk about family, friends, money, everything. So it wasn't like he wasn't here. I mean, we created this place where we would meet. And that's when also I started meeting the extraterrestrials. They sit on the bench beside me, and I'm just going, why is he allowing this to happen? So,
I love that. I love that. That is awesome. So as you were learning to fly a spaceship, how did this training begin? And what did flying mean in your case? Physical, astral, or both? I mean, how was that? Were you actually physically flying the ship, um, we'll say, in your astral form, or as you leave your body and you go as a being of light, you can still embody the body of a form if you want.
right.
So
Well,
how was it for you? I mean,
okay. There's two ways I travel, and I explained this. How I explained it is when my light body's traveling, it's like my ghost is traveling. I'm going astral traveling. That's the astral traveling. That's when I'm going out looking like a ghost. You can see through me. I'm going out and remote viewing, doing all these things, and I and go enjoy and look. But I can't touch. I can't work. I can't do anything.
right.
But with my soul body is my light body, which can come out of my human body and look like just light. And it can go take on any form. So it goes on the spaceship and usually takes on me, but a much younger me, like in my 30s. So, and it has gone and taken on different extraterrestrial bodies also. I've also gone and that light body's gone into a whale body. So there's two ways I travel. One, it's my soul that actually takes on another body that can physically touch, work, do all these things, learn how to fly a spaceship. And then my astral body who goes up to like the grid to sit out there and watch the moon and the stars, or just do some remote viewing. So that's the two ways I travel.
I love that. Okay. That was clear. All right. So human rescue, and someone had to do it.
That is Dirty Harriet crying to get out. She's already been out tonight, but she's trying to get out again.
I hear that. You want to let her, you probably don't let her.
It's raining out there.
Okay.
She would last 2 seconds.
So human rescue, and someone had to do it. What kind of rescue missions have you been part of? Just give a little taste of the rescue missions.
We're rescuing sick and dying extraterrestrials out of these Area 51 places, and those are all over the world. We have a lot of them in the Midwest, all the way from Canada, all the way through Mexico. There's a lot of underground facilities, and we go in and get the ones that are not going to make it, the ones that are really sick and who are going to die, and we get them out. And so there's a lot. And then I've also rescued humans from extraterrestrials that were fate was not favorable. So it goes both ways.
Wow, that's amazing. And the mini grays and sectoids are and sensitive diplomatic endings. That's going to be the second book, folks. This is going to be something that you're going to read about. But this is going to be a series, right, Dr. Gail?
Yeah, it would be.
It's a long. There's a lot of experiences to go through, and as you've progressed on what you've done, as you graduated to new levels of what you are there to accomplish, things change.
Yeah, my next book is about being an interplanetary liaison, where I'm going to different planets and stars, and I'm having to report back my information to the Galactic Federation. And I'm having to be diplomatic about the things I say, the area, how I approach them, and what I eat. So it's always a challenge. The eating is always a challenge, but it's a kind of a different role on that. And the things that the different stars and planets are asking, some of them are just wanting to meet me, some have some requests. So that's what the second book. Now my third book is when I go on the spaceship, where I go on that as the Athena. That'll be my third book. It's about my job on that one.
Oh, that's fantastic. We do have a question from Patricia who's asking, why are ETs being held in these facilities and who's behind this action?
Well, Patricia, different for everything. We so much want to, and I'm included in this. We all want to put everything in a box. This is who's doing this, and then this is who they're doing it to. And it's all the same thing, but it's not.
It's so convoluted, right?
Yeah, some have spaceships. Some are brought down by the U.S. They're found in different countries. So you would have to. As much as I want to, I can't randomly put this is how they all are.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, thank you for that question, Patricia. And so, can you share a range of beings that you've interacted with, and how communication differs among them? As you're getting to telepathic communication, is their style different? Is there any?
Some of them are, some of them are verbal, and some are like a lot of the insectoids are using clicking type of noises.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's it's just different. Again, it's different species, different things. And then you come to the species that you have no idea what it is or where to go with it, and it could be a hybrid. And a lot of times, that's definitely a telepathic communication.
Yes.
But again, it's hard to put one label on all that.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's true. So, time travel in familiar territory. You mentioned time travel. How does time feel or function differently during your missions? Is it extended? What's that? How's that work out? Because you're out of your body. You're in your light body usually. Like for instance,
right. That's a specific situation where I'm rescuing a human from reptilians that you're talking about.
Okay.
And so I'm having to use time travel, and there's a whole big story behind this big story. And so I'm having to eventually the solution, which you don't know that, which you've already given away the solution.
I haven't written that far in the book, but we'll wet our whistle by saying it's a story. So
yeah, well, time travel shows up several times. That was the only time I remember myself time traveling. Now there's instance that because I'm medical, and that's what I'm usually working on is my medical things. And there's 2 instances in there where people got caught in time travel that I'm having to have some medical attention on. And I think there's different factors that there's the casualties of time travel.
Oh yeah, and I bet there are. So that's it. Yeah. I can't wait to get to that chapter. Okay. So who is flying the spaceship now? So
my spaceship, well, I'm on the I went from the Athena to the ABC, but that's still my personal spaceship. But they don't let me go out with a lot of protection. So it used to be I could get in my spaceship and go fly around, do my own thing. I could take my dog out, Moon, who was, fly out with her and do all sorts of things. But when I went to, when I made it to the Athena, then the joyride was over. I had to be escorted and protected all the time.
Yeah. They invested a lot of time in you. They got to keep you safe.
Right. In planetary liaison, I had Moon is my dog who had passed away, and she was a shapeshifter. And so at that time, she was my right-hand person and my protector. So I had to have somebody with me all the time because she could change into in the book, I call her a Yeti for copyrights, but she was actually a white Wookiee is what she looks like. But
cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, I still have that spaceship, but I just can't go free flying around in it anymore without being escorted.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So 3 military bases and my office. there's a hint of human ET collaboration. What do you want the public to know about that aspect?
Well, the military bases is part of the disclosure process.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what that's about. Each base had captured a gray, and it was part of the disclosure. Like it had to be documented that they got them. So that was part of the disclosure.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of videos out there. This isn't from your book, but you might know. There's a lot of videos out there with a gray, and they're interviewing him. Is that real footage?
Well, yeah, probably, because I know if you look on Gaia and you look at Tim.
Yeah. Tactical. Tim
he-
Tactic.
Yeah, I think he dropped that tactical part of it.
Yeah.
He actually goes in and talks to them, and
Yeah.
I think that whole series. What is that series? And Emery Smith also.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think some of that's real, or there's kind of some fakes out there too. But yeah, I think that's real. But I'm not sure. I don't know. Well, a question. Since they're in a different dimension, you can't see them.
Mhm.
How do you film them?
That is very true. And that's, I think, why they say the films that they do get are blurry and weird when they have them on in Area 51 or wherever that is in Groom Lake, wherever all those places are that they are. So, yeah, dimensional space, not good for photographing.
I do think the Greys have the ability to come down to 3D and maybe be able to film them, but I'm not sure how many other extraterrestrial groups could do that.
Right. That's true. That's interesting. And it's true. I don't think I've ever seen a picture, image or film of any other than the little the hybrid grays. But so Clarice, Carl, and Eric, you named these specific beings. What is special about each relationship that you have with them?
Well, Clarice is my medical assistant.
Okay.
And she was just that. She helped me in the operating room. She was just my medical assistant. And whenever you have a good medical assistant, and this is true with anything, the surgery here on Earth or anything, you have a good assistant, you can almost stand there and they can just tell you what to do, even though you're the one that's in charge and doing the procedure. You have a good medical assistant, they can almost do everything except for the actual procedure. So she was like that. She was extremely helpful on that.
Oh, that's great. And Carl.
Carl was reptilian, and Carl was the first reptilian I met, and he was so sweet. And I didn't know when I was meeting these different extraterrestrials, I had no idea what they were. And so when I would meet one, I would go running to my friend Meg and go, "What was this?" Like my first one I met was an Arcturian. Then there's a gray. Anyway, along the way, I met Carl, who's a reptilian, and I went to her and I said, "I met this dinosaur-looking."
Because you didn't have any framework, you didn't know.
I had no idea. And she goes, and her eyes got me. She goes, "That's reptilian. Be careful." And I said, "Why do I need to be careful?" She says, "Because of their reputation. Told me about him or whatever." And I went, "But he was the sweetest thing." I said, "I could feel his energy, his eyes. They just melted with his kindness." And then it turned her around on what she thought about reptilians with my interaction with them.
I love that. I love that. And Eric.
Oh, Eric. Eric was a time travel casualty. And he was from Ireland, and he had bright red hair, white skin. And so I'm going to say about that.
Okay. So we're going to have to I got to finish this book, and you all got to go grab this book from Amazon.com. How I Learned to Fly a Spaceship. all about aliens. Gail
Yes,
McLeod.
yeah, that's a series. It's all about aliens.
It's a series.
Yeah.
And this is book 1. So, from your perspective, oh, wait, I'm skipped something. Implants,
What about them?
a sensitive topic. How do you explain your experience of implants to people who may only know the Hollywood version?
Well, so a lot of us do have implants, and there's the positive and negative implants. The positive implants is usually from your galactic family that's directly giving you information directly to you.
Yeah.
The negative implants are you usually having issues with whenever there's somebody who's having issues with depression, anger, management, and maybe having some suicidal thoughts. I'm looking at to see if they have any negative implants. The negative implants is to keep that vibration of that person down. And it's usually somebody who's gifted. And it's to keep the vibration down because there are usually the Dracos, the reptilian, they're wanting us to stay in 3D and feed off our
drama. It's the drama that
Right.
feeds the energy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So putting in a negative implant kind of keeps triggering that person to stay angry and sad and depressed. And so they can feed off that energy. So whenever when I was removing those things, it just changed the person's life. But there's so much more work than just removing it. The person has to do a lot of work to raise their vibration afterwards. So it's just not as easy when you're hearing some people going, oh, I had my implant removed. And I'm going, well, what kind of work did you do afterwards? And they go, well, I just had it removed. I'm going, well, it's going to come back unless you're doing the work to prevent it to come back. There's so much more to it than just that.
Oh, that's interesting and good to know. Good to know. Patricia also has this question. Is that why 2 reptilian guards recently on Athena from Ashtar Med? Why I have 2 reptilian guards?
Oh, well, you have reptilian guards recently on Athena from the Ashtar Medical one. Did they come from the Ashtar Medical one? Yeah. Reptilian guards, you can't ask for anything better than that. Reptilian guard.
I mean, that's what they do. So out of all the species, those would be the...
Oh, you're on the Athena. No, that's right, Patricia. Yes, that is why. Because when the Athena is such a large spaceship, and it's not uncommon for, if you're in an important role, for them to kidnap you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you have to go out with guards.
Okay. I love that. Okay. And Rossi, thank you for adding this. Dr. Gail's book. There's the link. So you can click on that and go directly to Amazon. That's fantastic. Thank you, Rossi. And in the bigger picture, wisdom of the world questions, from your perspective, Dr. Gail, what is the true purpose behind ET contact with humans?
Well, they're wanting us to raise our vibration, ascend, Earth ascend, and then they sit on, and we take a seat at the Galactic Federation chair, or take a seat at that committee. So we have an input on what's happening in our galaxy. And that's the whole purpose. They're wanting to join us. And we have mainly the Palladians that are here that are helping us because they're the ones that were the last ones in our galactic universe that they ascended. And then the Arcturians were before them. So it's almost like they're paying it forward. So we have them here trying to help us. And that's the reason. It's time for us to have a voice on the Galactic Federation on what happens in our this area.
Right. That is fantastic. And as the communicator, what is the biggest misunderstanding you see between humanity and extraterrestrials?
It's the fear. It's fear. It's fear. That's the biggest thing to overcome. Fearing them. I mean, I'm not saying that all of them shouldn't be feared, because you always have the yin and the yang. There's always the bad ones and the good ones, but you can feel it from your heart if it's good or bad. And also, if you're dealing with one and you're angry, you're depressed, and doing all these things, that is not a good one that you're with. So just look at how you're feeling when you're around them. and just you can, and you're stronger than any of them. So when they're in a different dimension and they're approaching you and you don't feel like you want them around, you just tell them to go away and they will.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's good advice. But it would be good for us to get over our fear and become comfortable. And
Right.
when you think about the shows like Star Trek and all the different E.T., the movie, all these things have been brought forward to sort of get us comfortable.
Mhm.
So you'd think by now we would be comfortable.
Well, I used to think how creative Star Trek, Star Wars, all these people.
Oh, really? I'm looking at it and I'm going, yeah, we're galactic. I'm like spot right into it.
Well, I did too. And then after this information started coming to me and writing my book, I'm going, they did the same thing. They got the information the same way I did. There was nothing creative. There's
nothing creative. They're getting this channeled information or information directly from sources that have that information for sure. I agree. And your missions sometimes sound dangerous. How do you manage fear or doubt when you are called to act?
Well, they have been training me all my life because I started off as a nurse and then became a chiropractor. Now I worked in the operating room and I worked in open heart surgery, neurosurgery. So I've been working on brains and hearts and doing all those kind of different kind of surgeries, which is very stressful and having to take care of traumas. So I used to excel in the fact when we had a trauma that I could stay cool, calm, and move very quickly, and I could give orders directly on how everybody else should be moving along. So they've been training me all my life. So when I'm moving into this role of rescue missions, well, that just transfers
right in.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, Dr. Gail, that I always see this as whatever we've gone through and given ourselves as life experience, like becoming a registered nurse or a chiropractic doctor, all these things that you have experienced are exactly the tools you draw on for what you're doing now. Nothing is wasted.
No, because I've been dealing with my dad with his dementia, and he was diabetic, very brittle diabetic, dealing with that. I had to bring that when we were on a rescue mission. And this is back when Ukraine and Russia went to war. We were, and actually White Dragon was involved in this with me, that he was the soldier there, that trains were coming in for the people who were running away. And I was expecting families to come off these trains, and they were coming to Germany. And so I was expecting all these families to come in. We were going to be treating all these families, and we were sending them away to places and homes and things. And what came off that train shocked me. It was these people in their 80s, 90s, hundreds, and the children. So I had to change everything. I'm sitting there again, yelling out orders, get me chairs, get me glucose monitors, get me some food, get me, and just letting it out. So, I knew because of dealing with him, what these elderly people needed to get the correct care.
Right. I love that. That's a good example of things that can happen, and you have to have split-second decision-making ability, which, being a nurse and
I have been trained for that. Yes,
you really did. What advice would you give someone who suspects they've had their own ET experiences but are afraid to talk about it?
I would say come visit the channel, because listening to these people that are in the channel who have their own experiences, you're going to be in here with like-minded people, and it's going to feel safe. We have moderators that are watching all the time, making sure we don't have somebody coming in making some negative statements about what's happening, and we can talk about it. Even if I can't get to you to talk about it, there's so many people in the chat that having their own experiences and can guide that person and help them along, and it will make them, it's a safe place for them to talk about it.
I love that. I love that. And we have Diana, oil painter. Diana Bowles is the artist who did all the pictures and artwork in how I learned to fly a spaceship. And I'm just going to show you this front because you have to buy the book to see the rest. And it's beautiful artwork. I love it. I love it.
The inside of it, the inside artwork.
The inside artwork is just gorgeous. So is this, though. I love this too.
Yeah, the part I actually had somebody else do that. Yeah.
I really love Diana's bowls. Your artwork is just gorgeous, beautiful. So all of you, you have to get the book to see that beautiful artwork.
Yeah. And Diana's busily working on the next book.
So, yeah. And so where do you see this work going in the next decade for yourself and humanity? The work, for instance, the work you're doing, or even and also many others who are doing the same work as liaisons between the galactics and us on Earth.
Well, it's exposing us to all this. It's exposing us that this is what's happening. So somebody who's reading my book and there's somebody who's questioning, maybe this happened to me, and they read the chapter and go, holy crap, I remember that. I did that.
You know what? I was reading this morning, and I was actually practically lifting out of my body. I was having this kind of experience, and that's what I thought. This is probably going to trigger so many people's memories.
Right.
It really is. So you just took the words out of my mouth or out of my brain and said them. So I really think that's true.
And also the pictures that Diana has in there, people will see them, and that will trigger them also.
It will, everyone. Really. There's something about this book that is vibrating and shifts you. Let's just say it like that, because it happened to me this morning. So, somehow I knew I had to clear my calendar, clear the space to start reading it. And now I know why, because it just alters your reality. When you're reading it energetically, there's something happening. So if you could leave readers with one message from your ET friends, what would that be?
They're here among us. They've been here among us, and they're trying to communicate with a lot of us. So
Yeah.
be more receptive to it, but as I said, be also discerning. Just make sure it feels right. If it doesn't feel right, don't let them come in. But they're probably trying to contact a lot of us, especially light workers. They're trying to contact you and have an open communication with you.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And I just wanted to say, there's so many people leaving comments. I just want to say, everyone, run out. No, you don't have to. You can just use your fingers. Go to Amazon.com.
That's the only way you're going to get it is using your fingers.
Dude, this is my shopping experience. I use it. I shop this way. I never leave the house to shop. So how I learned to fly a spaceship. So much fun to read. And I'm telling you, there's some high vibrational, interdimensional, higher dimensional stuff going on when you're reading this. I've experienced it. So please go to Amazon and get yourself a copy of Dr. Gail McLeod's new book. And it's book one in the series. So there's a lot of adventure and I'm sure as it goes on, the frequency is even going to shift even more. So I'm looking forward to that. And go to Dr. Gail Walking with Moon YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Let's see what else.
And a new website.
New website, which it should be linked.
Val made my new website for me.
Oh, yes, I did.
So Dr. Gail Starseed Healer. And
DrGailStarseedHealer.com.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go
That's-
there and you can find out a little bit more about Dr. Gail, and you'll also be up to date. We'll try to keep it up to date with the next book that is already it's getting ready.
It's already in editing.
It's in editing. So we'll update that when the cover is ready, and you all can look forward to that. So we'll keep that updated. And all of you, thank you for joining us. And those who watch in the future, just realize that we're doing this together. And thank you, Dr. Gail, for doing what the ETs asked and producing the book so that we could all experience the energy.
Yeah.
Because there's something going on here.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Val, for having me on, and thanks to everybody for joining us.
All right. And yeah, everyone, don't forget, go to Dr. Gail's channel, subscribe if you haven't already. Watch videos, like and subscribe, comment at least 7 characters, because that's how the algorithms look at things.
I didn't know that.
Yes, this is what we learned. I think I learned that from Arthur. Arthur, ease your mind. 7 characters and the algorithms see it and will acknowledge it, and you'll get out further into the search engine system. So thank you, Dr. Gail. I really appreciate you being here, and I love your book. It's really, really phenomenal. And yeah, everything you're doing, it's a lot. And thank you for doing it. Thank you for doing your part. Yeah. So we'll see you all next time. Right, and love you guys. Bye-bye.